Hey, you found the GarethTheGamer video.
Hello everyone, GarethTheGamer here today doing a video on SiN Episodes Emergence, a first-person shooter game made by Critchley Entertainment using the Source engine that released in 2006. This is actually a sequel to a game called SiN, which I'm not going to cover here. Now, I wouldn't usually cover a sequel to a game before covering the original, but I'll make an exemption here. I guess this is because I never heard of SiN, so I don't have any history with this series, but it's more the case that a video about SiN has already been done to a far greater standard than what I could do. Check out Ross's game dungeon on SiN. I'll be bringing up this video a little later, but the vast majority of that video covers the original SiN, so go check that out, it's a good watch. I've got a twist coming at some point too. If you know, you know, but if you don't, then just wait. Immediately upon booting into SiN, we hear this awesome music on the title screen. Is that kick-ass or what? Let's start a new game. It's worth noting that instead of predetermined difficulty levels, there's a slider that ranges from casual to extreme, which ties into the dynamic difficulty that this game possesses. I'll get into that later. You can also choose how much help you get, ranging from nothing too quickly after struggling in one spot. When you beat the game once, you unlock Hard Corpse mode, I know it's pronounced hardcore mode, which disables the ability to save, so you have to beat the entire episode in one sitting. Considering this game was made following the episodic formula similar to what Valve tried with Half-Life 2, you can expect a full playthrough of this game to be around 3 hours. There's also the option to skip the intro so you can jump right into the action. I'll go middle of the road for help and challenge, let's see how this goes. Now, as this is a sequel, there's characters that are present in this series that I feel deserve a little introduction before I outline the story of this game. You play as Colonel John R. Blade, the leader of Hard Corpse, yeah I know, which is a private security organisation in Freeport City where SiN and Emergence takes place. Another main character is JC, totally not inspired by John Carmack, who is Hardcore's tech expert, who, interestingly enough, we only ever see the upper body of for the entire episode. The main antagonist is Alexis Sinclair, CEO of SiNtech Industries, who wants to accelerate human evolution to her own design and is smart, beautiful, and evil. So let's begin. We see Alexis, who, might I say, has a wazzle pair of jugs.
A wazzle pair of jugs?
Well, the episode doesn't start on a positive note, because Blade's been captured for some reason, on some undisclosed assignments, and we are introduced to a new character called Victor Radek, who is assisting Alexis with something. Out of nowhere, there's gunshots and we are rescued by another new character, Jessica Cannon, who's a Spec Ops officer and a recent addition to the hardcore team, who exclaims that Blade has been injected with some strange substance. Then the building starts falling apart, initiating our escape. We black out, and when we come to, we are informed that the operation was a success because Radek was hit with a tracker, and that finding him is crucial to understanding what we've been injected with. Then there's this scene. I have no non-sexual comments to make here. Why does she have to be evil? After that, oh look, Ross Avenue. Here's another plug for that Ross's Game Dungeon video I mentioned earlier. Jessica forces our way into a SiNtech controlled zone and briefs us on our mission, but let's hear it from Jessica herself.
Listen, Blade, I called in a couple of favors. There's a guy in there, Garrison. He'll find us a way into the U4 lab.
Sound familiar? It's Cortana from Halo, aka the legendary Jen Taylor. This isn't the only time I'm bringing up Halo in this video. JC argues with Jessica about the plan, with JC wanting to bring Blade back to base, while Jessica wants to confront Radek. She refers to JC as Skeeve, which I believe is referring to what JC does for hardcore or something. So we're on the lookout for a guy named Garrison. We encounter his right-hand man, Martin, who lets us into the docks, which allows us to meet Garrison, who is another new character. Honestly, it's hard to make a judgment about these new characters because of a reason I'll get to later. Garrison is more than happy to spill the beans about Radek's location, a derelict tanker, but the catch is it's fortified to hell and back, so we have to find a side entrance. Martin sets us up, so we have to escape, preferably alive. As it turns out, SiNTech pulls some jurisdictional tactics to prevent an evac from reaching us for another week, so we have to escape on our own. So we get our first taste of the combat in this game, and it's not too bad. I wanted a little bit of challenge and I'm certainly getting it. These grunts don't take too many hits to go down, but they hit hard in return. I guess it's fair to say that the combat experience of Emergence is totally dependent on the difficulty slider I mentioned earlier. There's only 3 weapons in the game that we have access to: the pistol, shotgun and assault rifle, all of which have the ability to scope in and have a secondary attack. The pistol fires a single high-powered penetrating shot, the shotgun fires several ricocheting rounds, and the assault rifle has a grenade launcher, making it similar to the OICW from pre-release Half-Life 2. While this may not be the greatest arsenal one may expect, each weapon has its purpose and adds a little realism. I mean, who can go around with a submachine gun, assault rifle, rocket launcher, pistol, revolver, grenades, crossbow and ammunition and not be encumbered any? This also adds to the possibility that extra weapons were to be added in later episodes that we would have access to. We also have incendiary grenades, before I forget to mention it. Moving on, there's nothing much to say other than to fight our way through the docks and towards a lighthouse. There's jetpackers. Cool. Jessica helps out by moving a storage crate for us, but I think my game glitched, as you can see. Speaking of glitches, there's instances where being underwater causes visual fuck-ups, which may be a result of playing at a high FOV. Also, you may notice the mesh of the fences looks shimmery. I think this is an anti-aliasing thing with Emergence. The nerdy explanation is that the meshes are brush blocks and not models, like in Half-Life 2. Plus I apologise for the frame rate, as I was playing this game at 4K resolution with maximum graphics settings. Usually this isn't a problem for me, especially for Source games, but there's something going on with Emergence and I'm not quite sure what it is. Here is footage of an Emergence map running in Gary's mod, and you can see that there aren't really any issues. Beyond the blockade of train cars lies the beached tanker that serves as Radek's base of operations, so we have to find a way inside. Apparently, it's as easy as clicking a button to lower a ramp to a concealed elevator. Of course, we end up walking right into a trap and have to hold out while JC hacks the force field that activated upon trying to enter. There's plenty of enemies to fight here, so be prepared for bullets to start flying and people to start dying. There's this timed security door that I can't quite get to in time, so we have to fight automated turret guns, lovely. We get introduced to a new mechanic where exposure to these mutagen clouds slows down time around us. Weapon firing is slowed for both blade and enemies, but we have the ability to evade enemy attacks more easily. So we fight through the tanker and realise that there are experiments with mutants taking place. We can turn a couple grunts into mutants and understand that mutagen clouds heal them, but regenerabiotic clouds hurt them. I was told earlier that shooting at regenerabiotic canisters creates a cloud of healing gas, but I must have missed it. There's another holdout section we have to survive, where we gain access to a room that opens up the path to the cargo bay. Here we confront Radek, Freeport City's drug lord. It's interesting to note that Radek was voiced by David Scully, who voiced Sergeant Johnson from Halo, so here's the other mention of Halo for this video. Radek claims he doesn't know what we've been injected with, and flees via submarine, classy. There's a message from Alexis too via hologram. After this confrontation, the tanker starts a self-destruct sequence, so we have to escape before getting blown to bits. We get introduced to mutant enemies who are engaging the grunts, so it's up to you whether or not you want to get involved. There's creatures that want to get up close and personal, and spitters that are a pain in the ass, so just kill them all, Metallica style. I think I will bring up the dynamic difficulty here, as I got to a part where there were 2 mutant enemies in this room, and I died. Going back to the same room after reloading the autosave and nothing. I guess the game evaluates how you're doing and actively makes combat harder or easier depending on how well or bad you're doing. So in this case, I died, so the game despawned some enemies to make my life a little easier. It's an interesting system that you don't really see in action, and is sure to make every player's experience with this game unique. So we get out of the lab and watch it explode and work our way towards some underground tunnels. What's this? A locked door? Well, of course the only way to open it is to just go all the way around. So I get here and the door opens now, so I'll just go back and... Are you kidding me? The door locked? Ah! We meet up with Jessica, who will join us later, and we see this. Yep, it's a gigantic mutant freak boss battle. The game refers to this monstrosity as a Quadrilix, which is a nuisance that has a load of health and packs quite the punch. We take it down and proceed through a maze of pallets. We get these elite guards with chain guns and a ton of health, so I end up dying a couple of times here. There's a chopper shooting at Jessica in the car, and we drive our way through to a pretty view of Freeport City and end up at Supremacy Tower, a SiN-Tech controlled citadel. This begins the end game, where it's firefight after firefight through this high rise, with Jessica going off on her own after going through this parking garage. We see Radek's sub here, so he has to be close by. We fight through wave after wave of enemies, fight through an office space and proceed towards a data nexus where Jessica leaves us, again. This takes us up the elevator to the higher levels, and now I will outline the reason I got this game. This view. Holy fuck. Is this view amazing? So amazing in fact that it's actually my desktop background. No joke. Damn, I love this skybox. It just feels like there's a whole load of activity going on outside of the confines of this game, this story. One thing I haven't even mentioned are these phones that exist throughout the episode, whereby dialing a certain number will trigger a soundbite.
Las muchachas. Stress relief. Every day we have a free lunch buffet. All you can eat at La Muchachas.
For a company directory, press 1. For a list of crate models, press 2. For a list of barrel models, press 3. For store hours and directions, press 4. For delivery options, press 5. If you are currently in a firefight and need our express delivery service, please hold for the next available customer representative.
Hey, thanks for calling. Roger's mom can't answer the phone right now. Leave a message.
It adds to the sense of depth this game has, the world that's happening around the events of SiN. I love it. These enemies are bastards though, but I appreciate how we're fighting on the edge of the building. One slip up and it's a long way down. I like how if you shoot the angel wings they explode even after they've been blown off. After this, we see that Radek has captured Jessica and injects her with something strange. She's out of commission, so it's up to us to reach the very top of Supremacy Tower. We end up fighting another Quadrilix as well as a chopper that fires a chain gun and rockets at us, so just dodge and weave, boys. Oh, look at that, rocket to the face as I defeat the chopper. Imagine what I would be saying if that ended up killing me. This allows a friendly helicopter to arrive and extract us and Jessica to safety. And with that, the episode is beat. Next time on SiN episodes, Jessica is on standby, the Quadrilixes are war machines and are tearing through the streets, and Freeport City is under martial law. End credits. And boy do I have a lot to say. I think that this game is pretty good, albeit short, but that's what you have to expect from a game that follows the episodic formula. The dynamic difficulty is unique, the environments are gorgeous at points, and the story is satisfactory for what it is. There's even Easter egg references to Duke Nukem and the Dopefish, plus signs of comedic world building trying to shine through. Emergence is a pretty solid first episode. There's also an arena mode that I haven't even talked about yet, which is a holdout style wave survival mode with some of the available maps being based off locations from the episode, with others being unique, such as this gigantic lab or this abstract space. With all of the things this game does well, it also has some shortcomings, such as the lack of character development and a fairly boring soundtrack. But now I have to go to the dark side, which is where that twist I mentioned earlier comes in. I will mention the fact that I got SiN episodes Emergence because of a creator I like called Ross Scott, or Accursed Farms on YouTube. He did a video on SiN for one of his series, Ross's Game Dungeon, as mentioned earlier in this video, where he briefly talks about Emergence. According to Ross, he was in contact with Zach Belliker, the composer for the music for SiN, and he knew the music for Emergence was lackluster and generic, but was forced by upper management to make the music we end up hearing. He had to fight to keep the main menu music, which I think is awesome, but was informed that for the next episode he would have been able to exercise more creative control and that Blade was supposed to talk more. Yeah, in the original SiN, Blade spoke a lot more than he does here. You only really hear Blade say, "Talk to me, Jessica," which is a step backwards. But now for that twist. Emergence was supposed to be the first of 9 expansions to the original SiN. Yeah, 9. And do you want to know how many got made? Just 1. Yeah. So the idea of an expanded SiN universe collapsed before it even had a chance to begin, which makes this next time on SiN episodes bit hurt so much more. It's the only insight we have into what episode 2 would have been like, however it never had the chance to see the light of day. This reminds me a lot of The Mummy, starring Tom Cruise, how that movie was supposed to kick off the Hammer Cinematic Universe, obviously copying the Marvel Cinematic Universe formula, except the movie was awful and killed the universe it was supposed to create before it even got going. Same thing happened with SiN episodes, except Emergence was good. I guess that's the issue with thinking too far ahead, you have to know the idea is going to work before you commit. Now that the SiN IP is in the hands of the folks over at Night Dive Studios, I guess it's up to them to continue the story to SiN. Although they've probably got other games to worry about, like the System Shock remaster that I'm quite looking forward to. So here we are, the end of the video. It's such a shame Emergence never got the follow-up it deserved. I'm sure it would have been even better than what we got here. But we may never see such a follow-up come to fruition. I hope you liked the video, consider buying me a coffee to help support the channel, and I'll see you next time for, hopefully, a spooky scary Halloween special. Peace people. After this, we see that red... Oh, come on.